Simultaneous changes in demand and supply. Till now we were considering the effect of a change either in demand or in supply on the equilibrium price and quantity sold and produced and purchased. It sometimes happens that events shift both the demand and supply curves at the same time. This is not unusual in real life. Supply curves and demand curve for many goods and services typically shift quite often because of continuous changes in economic environment during a war. For example, shortage of goods will often lead to decrease in their supply, while full employment causes high total wage payment which increase demand. What happens when the demand and supply curves shift in the same direction? We may discuss the effect on equilibrium price and quantity when both demand and supply increase simultaneously with the help of diagram in the next page. Figure 12, simultaneous change in demand and supply. Figure 12 shows simultaneous change in demand and supply and its effects on the equilibrium price. In the figure, the original demand curve dd and the supply curve ss meet at E, at which OP is the equilibrium price and OQ is the quantity bought and sold. Figure 12a shows that increase in demand is equal to increase in supply. The new demand curve D1 and S1 meet at E1. The new equilibrium price is equal to the old equilibrium price OP. However, equilibrium quantity is more. Figure 12b shows that increase in demand is more than increase in supply. Hence, the new equilibrium price OP1 is higher than the old equilibrium price OP. The opposite will happen, that is, the equilibrium price will go down if there is a simultaneous fall in demand and supply and the fall in demand is more than the fall in supply. Figure 12c shows that supply increases in a greater proportion than demand. The new equilibrium price will be less than the original equilibrium price. Conversely, if the fall in supply is more than proportionate to the fall in the demand, the equilibrium price will go up. What is the effect on equilibrium price and quantity when both demand and supply decrease? You can check it yourself with the help of diagrams. We can summarize the two possible outcomes when the supply and demand curve shift in the same direction as follows. When both demand and supply increases, the equilibrium quantity increases, but the change in equilibrium price is uncertain. When both demand and supply decreases, the equilibrium quantity decreases, but the change in equilibrium price is uncertain. What happens when the demand and supply curve shift in opposite direction? We may discuss the effect on equilibrium price and quantity when demand and supply curve shifts in opposite direction with the help of the diagram given in the next page. Figure 13, effect on equilibrium price and quantity when demand and supply curves shift in opposite direction. In panel A, there is simultaneous rightward shift to the demand curve and leftward shift of the supply curve. Here the increase in demand is more than the decrease in supply. Therefore, the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will rise. In panel B, there is also a coincident rightward shift of the demand curve and leftward shift of the supply curve. Here the decrease in supply is more than the decrease in demand. Consequently, the equilibrium price rises and the equilibrium quantity falls. In both cases, the equilibrium price rises from P to P1. As the equilibrium moves from E to E1, what is the effect on quantity? In panel A, the increase in demand is large relative to the decrease in supply and equilibrium rises. Equilibrium quantity rises as a result. In panel B, the decrease in supply is large relative to the increase in demand and the equilibrium quantity falls as a result. That is, when demand increases and supply decreases, the actual quantity bought and sold can go either way depending on how much the demand and supply curves have shifted. In general, when supply and demand shift in opposite direction, we cannot predict what the ultimate effect will be on the quantity bought and sold. What we can say is that a curve that shifts a disproportionately greater distance than the other curve will have a disproportionately greater effect on the quantity bought and sold. We can summarize the two possible outcomes when the supply and demand curve shift in the opposite direction as follows. When demand increases and supply decreases, the equilibrium price rises, but nothing certain can be said about the changes in equilibrium quantity. When demand decreases and supply increases, the equilibrium price falls, but nothing can be said about the change in equilibrium quantity. Illustration 1. D1 and S1 are the original curves, demand and supply curves. D2, D3, S2 and S3 are possible new demand and supply curves starting from initial equilibrium point 1. What point on the graph is most likely to result from each change given in question 1 to 4? Solutions. Assume X is a normal good holding everything else constant. Assume that income rises and the price of a factor of production also increases. What point in the figure above is most likely to be the new equilibrium price and quantity? We are analyzing the market for good Z. The price of a complement good Y declines. At the same time, there is technological advance in the production of good Z. What point the figure above is most likely to be the new equilibrium price and quantity? Heavy rains in Maharashtra during 2005 and 2006 caused havoc with the rice crop. What point in the figures above is most likely to be the new equilibrium price and quantity? Assume that consumers expect the price of new cars to significantly increase next year. What point in the figure above is most likely to be the new equilibrium price and quantity? Let us try answering the questions. When income of people rises, the demand curve will shift to right as X given to be a normal good. An increase in the price of factors of production used in production of the goods under consideration will decrease its supply and shift to the supply curve to the left. The new demand and supply X will meet at point 2. When the price of a complementary good falls, the demand for the good in question increases. Therefore, then price of the complementary good Y falls, the demand curve for Z will move to right and become D2, and due to technological advancement, the supply of Z will increase and become S2. The new demand and supply of Z will meet at point 7. Due to heavy rains, the supply of rice will fall and the new equilibrium point will be 3. It is assumed that there is no change in demand. If prices of cars are expected to increase in future, the demand curve will shift to right. Assuming that the supply remains constant, the new equilibrium point will be 5.